Today is January 24th. Cashman went on a show and talked with his mouth and said some things. We're going to react to those things. It's Talkin' Yanks. Let's do it. Episode number 840, Jake. Your old lucky number.
Talkin' Yanks with old John Boy and Jake. Recaps galore, weekly awards, stat lines, steaming hot takes.
I'll sing
Your Yankees news from these two fine dudes. It's time for Talkin' Yanks. Talkin' Yanks with old John Boy and Jake. Talkin' Yanks with old John Boy and Jake.
Lou Dab in the chat. Just a hot mention. If you're listening on the podcast app or YouTube, we are live on AMP right now, and there's a live chat. And Lou Dab, pinstripe strong, starting pitcher Lou Dab from Blitzball Battle is in the chat. Delivering mail, tuned in. Jake, how are you doing? It's episode 840, as I said. Cashman had some quotes. I'm going on vacation next week. Spring training's kicking off. You're getting married in a couple weeks. You're wearing blue and pink. Anything else?
It's all happening, isn't it?
It's all happening.
John, Davis, Cashman, Hicksy, everyone tuning in with us. Hope you're doing well today. And yeah, we got some quotes. I think the Talkin' Yanks faithful somewhat know what to do with those quotes, but also, you're one of the best Cashman translators in the game. So we'll dive into that, and especially it's been the big topic of the offseason, the topic that we thought would be addressed more by this point, but is not.
It's our seventh left field episode.
Or take a stand up. So yeah, I'm doing generally well. January 24th is the date.
It is the date.
It's an update.
It is the date. That's a great date. It's a good time to place a bet on the Yankees winning the World Series.
1 week till February?
1 week until February. And if you want to place that bet, you can head to DraftKings Sportsbook. But also, the conference championship games are coming up in the NFL.
Yes.
One more shot for those teams to get to the big game.
Are you burping over there?
Yeah, I burped a little bit. I just chugged the coffee. Official sports betting partner of NFL. And you can bet just $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code YANKS. New customers can bet $5 on the conference championship and get 200 in free bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code YANKS. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Show me that tail. Show me that tail.
Thanks, DK. These Cashman quotes are good. They're not as the
people will run with what
they're not Bubba Crosby as our center fielder. They're not, Nick Swisher's our first baseman. They're not that. He actually was a bit more honest and said things like he opened up, and the quote is boom, boom. And this was on the MLB Network's radio Sirius XM show, The Front Office with Duquette and Bowden. He said that more moves could potentially take place. The team would still like to add a left-handed hitting outfielder to balance us out. Now, yesterday on Twitter, that wasn't making the rounds.
Right.
It was another quote from this conversation. But when you actually go look at it, that's different than what everyone is getting upset about. He literally said, yeah, we still want to add a left-handed left fielder.
Right.
That's the bigger quote. But people are running with the fact that he said Hicks is the starter now. And he used the word default. He said that Hicks, Cabrera, and Florio, the trio of them, are the default for left field in lieu of any other moves. He said everything you want to hear.
Yeah.
But people were kind of running with it the opposite last night, getting hot for no reason. So,
Jim, my guy, our guy, your guy, Joe's McFly, has a way with words sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he had us all raffling the other day because Brian Cashman is looking for a left-handed hitting left fielder. And Hicks is that. Florio is that. But it's kind of the old college quarterback if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. So he's like, so even when we're talking Aaron Hicks trade rumors and stuff like that, he's like, imagine being the Yankees and hitting other teams up and having Hicks and Florial, and, you know, we talked about them being traded, and Hicks would be a salary dump, and, you know, what value does Florial have at this point? Joe's is like, imagine being the Yankees, calling up another team for their left-handed hitting left fielder and saying, hey, you want Hicks or Florial? They'd say, well, isn't that what you're looking for? So, yeah, man, it's you're right. I mean, obviously,
I think they know they can't move those guys straight up too.
The quotes that are going around the internet, you know, Hicks would, you know, fully recovered, and he would kind of be the default for that left field position. Makes sense. I do think there would be a counter argument that Yankee fans would want to hear of that Oswaldo Cabrera would have first crack at it. Like, you know, he's versatile, but he's
not an outfielder.
He has young and potential. He played well in the outfield while he was out there.
But he makes a couple mistakes in
During
April
the
or even
playoffs,
spring
it wasn't
training.
pretty.
You're like, hey, yeah, well, he'd never played. Like, it's an easy.
Sure, but also think of that Yankee mindset, right? Like if Cabrera is shown the chops to play defense anywhere on the field, if he makes 1 or 2 mistakes in April, you shrug. If the Yankees would actually let him be the left fielder. The problem there is, and maybe we'll talk about it a little bit at the end of the episode, because there was some Yankee utility guy rumors. His best role is utility. He can be anywhere. He can end up anywhere. And if it almost feels like if you don't rely on him, it's kind of the expectations, right? If Oswaldo Cabrera comes into the season as the, you know, was he 23, 24? He could play everywhere, and like if you get a good day from him, it feels like a bonus. That feels like a win. When you talk about Oswaldo Cabrera potentially as the everyday left fielder, like you're saying, you know, hasn't really played a lot of outfield, and then he has a tough April, then everyone's screaming. And say Rafael Ortega is in the Yankees minor leagues, a guy who played 100 games with the Cubs last year. People are going to be calling for him and send him down. Why is he playing there? So you're right. At the end of the day, the quotes are kind of a win. The fact that Cashman says he's still exploring and looking for a left-handed hitting outfielder, that's kind of good news, because I do think that's, you know, pursuing Benintendi. You know, were they truly in on Varsho? I have no idea. But it feels like the thing that needs to be addressed. And my biggest thing with Hicks, and like, you know, Hicksy's been nice to us. Joe Hicks has been nice to us, his brother. It's the Brett Gardner thing. Like I've been mentally laughing that if Aaron Hicks ends up on the roster, he's going to play a bunch of games. And that was kind of where we were with Uncle Brett, like who was, you know, we were beloved Brett Gardner crew. I know there were some deep cuts that weren't, but if Aaron Hicks is on this roster, he's going to play a lot of games, because guess what? He can switch hit, and he can play every outfield position to a degree. So that's my concern with Hicksy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine that. He would have to play well
with Oswaldo right
to
there.
get stuck there, you know, like, or other people are injured, which obviously can happen. It happens a lot.
It's likely to happen.
It's likely to happen. Yes. He's usually one of the guys that goes down, which is why Gardner got so much run.
True.
So, I mean, you need him to be healthy to even be that role.
Gardner
was that role because he was always healthy. Hicks has not been healthy lately. So, I don't know. I don't think it's the same. I also think that it's less.
It was last year, right?
No.
130 games?
Well, yeah, but towards the end, he got hurt. But yeah, they just straight up benched him last year.
Yeah.
So they did that already. You know.
Yeah.
So I think they already said, well, we're going to go trade for outfielders to replace you. And, okay, that outfielder got hurt, but we still don't want to start you. We're going to bench you. They did that. We saw them do this with Hicks.
Yeah.
So I don't think
he's
going to get into that Gardner role where he's just stuck. That was because Gardner was pretty consistent, healthy, and could track down balls in center, even when he didn't provide offense. So
you knew exactly what to expect from him.
Yeah.
Hicks,
I guess that's my
sometimes you
thing. But
can't.
between Stanton obviously has an injury history. Like Bader, like I know Bader's the new guy, but he has a little bit of an injury history that like if Aaron Hicks ends up on the opening day roster, there's gonna end up being playing time for him. In his past, and this is funny, I hadn't brought this up. In the past 2 seasons, he's played 162 games. He was out a lot of 2021. So his last 162 games, what some would consider a full season of baseball, 211 batting average, 322 on base, a 317 slugging for a 639 OPS and 83 OPS plus. So
Yeah, and he did say last year that he lost a lot of weight, slimmed down because of the wrist injury,
right,
and then he halfway through said, "I can't play at this weight." He said it zapped him of his power, and he was going to bulk up. So interesting to see how he comes into spring, if he's heavier again and back to what he was before. But yeah, I mean, like, listen, Hicks was 1 year where the numbers were great or good and all that, but it was always an interesting at bat. I don't think he holds the same respect, reputation, and health as Gardner to get stuck there. I think they'd go to Cabrera or they'd go to Ortega or they'd do a carousel of tryouts and not just hand it to one guy where, like, when injuries happen, it was like, well, Gardy, head out there. Have fun.
Yeah, the financial equation ties into me too. Like if he's on this roster making that amount of money and, you start doing the 40-man game,
But they benched him last year.
Right.
Same money, right?
But he played what was it, the 4th most game on the Yankees or something like that?
Something like that.
Him and Rizzo were tied for 5th. Donaldson had him beat too, and IKF. So I don't know, man. Like, did I just say that 3 of the top 5 Yankees playing games last year were Hicks, Donaldson, and IKF? I don't love that.
Yeah, how many did he play after?
7th on the Yankees in plate appearances, if you want to take out some like sub situations, but yeah. Played.
Yeah, and down the stretch it wasn't a lot. Like after the deadline it wasn't a lot really. It was
Probably after that it's a good percentage of late game getting Judge off his feet, Stanton off his feet if he was having an outfield day. Guess Stanton wasn't down the stretch playing outfield either, but
He played. And I don't know. I think it feels like that Yankee conversation we end up stumbling into every year is kind of. And I hope this is the year. You know how every year we've kind of sniffed something out with the Yankees that was like, maybe the lineup is too right-handed. Maybe they should have more speed and defense. And then they got more balance. They got more speed and defense. Maybe this year is the year that, like, playing time truly gets earned. Like, I think that's what's hurting Yankee fans a lot is that over the past 2 years, Aaron Hicks hasn't, like, earned playing time.
the difference is that, or the lesson to learn from last year is, like, even if you're the best record in baseball, even if you're winning crazy, you still need to
Go
bolster up the things that are not there. And they never did that last year. And it was kind of like everyone was, when the problems arose, it was like, well, yeah, guys, even when you were good, these were problems, but you just thought,
worried about this.
You just thought, well, the vibes are good. Let's just keep going. It's like you should have had some things set in place. Now, Benintendi getting hurt stinks because that did hinder it a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I think there would be run out there with Oswaldo and him. I don't think it would be Hicks starting, every game.
Yeah, no, I wonder.
And they're still actively searching for
I
other.
hope so. Yeah.
If another move like happens, like something that I get hung up on the Twitter streets, I probably shouldn't let bother me because the Yankees operate a certain way. But like Oswaldo being like the left fielder isn't mutually exclusive from him also being the backup at every infield position. You just slide. Those are the Hicks days, and Praz is sitting, Oswaldo's at short, third, second, wherever. Like that's how they would do it. So,
Right.
just people have been talking like that's not how they would do it.
Have
If
they
it's- if it's
have they
Waldo's
done
the
that? I
left
feel like we always
fielder.
say they're going to do stuff like that, but it never. Someone
Like
started
the
up-
DJ years that, like he's been hurt a little bit the last couple, but down the stretch. But it's like, oh well, he'll go slide over to third on the day Gio's sitting, whatever. Like they would still do it.
They would start with that path early in the year. They'd have we know they're gonna do that. The first 2 weeks,
Especially early when like everyone's gonna get an off day in the first 2 weeks.
they map
and-
out the first 2 weeks
Mhm.
for every player, and Oswaldo would play 4 out of the 6 games, and that
three
would be it.
positions in that time.
And then by then, usually injuries and bad play or good play start to figure things out.
Hicks was healthy in September, right?
That's what I was just
believe
looking at.
so. There was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I
but
think so.
He played because he had like there's a good 2 weeks in there that I remember us getting excited about.
Not in
Let's see.
September.
Yeah.
He only started 3 games in September last year. And 2 of them were the doubleheader or the last 2 games of the year.
Are you
Or
sure?
wait, hold
I
on,
think you're
hold
looking at the wrong thing there.
Hold on. That was he started 18 in September.
Yeah.
It had just center field coming
So
up.
that's,
Half, less than half.
September, you probably play 28 games, something like that.
You're around half. 31 games, yeah.
yeah, looks like there were a couple September doubleheaders.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if you do September and like August, it's like, or the last 50 games, he played like 40%. He started 40%. That was a weird time. I don't know. I don't think he is of the level of like they're not going to change. And I still want to see the full picture for left field in the deadline. Outfielders that they can
Right.
potentially target
Will
at
be
the
available.
deadline will be available.
We'll be looking for.
But
So are you? So let's say
I think these quotes by Cashman are better. They're what people actually want to hear, but they're getting mad at what they were construed to be.
But let's call
Literally
it.
said we're looking for a new left fielder.
Let's call it 50% because we up until the trade deadline because we want to see who's available and all that. We know Hicks can still be a backup center fielder. He's a switch hitter. If Hicks starts like 50% of the games up until the trade deadline, are you okay with that?
Well, I'd have to see what it is and the
If
other
he's
position.
playing
It would depend
okay,
on a
it's
lot of other
different.
positions. Is IKF starting shortstop? Because then no. Is Donaldson starting third baseman looking bad? Because then no. Like if you got DJ starting at third and Peraza at short, and then left field as a rotation, sure. I can do with one position where we're finding our way and playing hot hand and ready to make
Right.
better as soon as someone's available. I can't do it with 3.
I guess that's the
So
problem.
it's a carousel of that.
I think between injuries and stuff, I think it turns into 2 to 3 pretty quickly, and that's my concern.
Yeah, well, and that's also Cashman's concern. He's
Right.
publicly saying they're trying to find a new left fielder,
Right.
which we all should be excited about. It's just they didn't want to do 5 years on Benny. And then who else is out there? Michael A. Taylor just went,
Yep.
but I don't know if he's anything.
Yeah, I
we-
mean he's very good defensively. Yeah, you don't know,
Not a lefty, not a stick.
not a lefty.
And it
not a
is
bat.
interesting that like obviously we know when we did our left field pie chart, we were like lefty batter it has to be. And Cashman said the same thing. He was looking for a lefty left fielder. How many of those exist in baseball right now?
I mean,
Like even that are on teams that could be traded.
yeah. I mean, you start getting into the profars and like
What team that we aren't thinking of is falling apart?
yeah, like I don't know. TJ Friedel is the left fielder for the Cincinnati Reds. He's supposed to lead off for them this year. I don't know. Like I don't know who that guy is with the New York Yankees, So there's guys out there. It's just there's nothing too spicy. But it very much feels like right now there's two guys on the roster that are very much only on the roster due to their contract situation, and that's Hicks and Donaldson.
Yes. Oh, and IKF, but they gave him that contract, so I guess not.
Unfortunately, that's still just an internal Yankees argument. Like the Yankees
That's just a philosophical
The Yankees
debate.
group chat must be just as lit as you and your buddies talking about IKF, because I don't know what that is.
So weird.
$6 million. Deal. Done. Pick him up.
I'm trying to find left-handed left fielders.
While you're looking for those, I just recalled something I had read around the time that Benintendi signed with Chicago. Was that, like, if you look at the two numbers for him leading up to his free agency, remarkably similar to the 2 years before Hicks signed his extension, and Hicks's were probably a tick better if one of them was better, and Hicks is younger.
Who?
Benintendi.
Oh.
So it's a little bit of a, oh, man, Yankees probably right to not go to 5. Good shot. We could end up.
They
in
were
another
they were
spot.
gung ho on that from the start.
Yeah.
Who knows what it looks like? Feel very different at bats. It felt like, but
You got Hap. He comes up. Profar. Jesse Winker. Go double trade for him.
double trade for him.
Jock,
think
Peralta.
he's
A lot of guys that
defense
kind
is
of
a
were
fit.
available. Gallo.
Peralta's still out.
Tony
there.
Kemp hits well at the stadium.
Tried that.
A's are always open for business.
Who else we got? Ben Gamel. Bring him back.
Soto probably out.
Jake Cave. Bring him back.
Kyle Tucker probably out.
Santander from Baltimore. He hits well
That
at the
one-
stadium.
That one could.
Yeah, they would have to be bad for a little bit because they're excited this year.
Yep.
They've had a weird offseason anyway, which we're getting to on TPPs.
Who's
coming up.
Tucapito Marcano?
Mm,
Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
Did I say his name anywhere close to correct?
we're all around it. I think he came up with the Padres. Did he get traded?
He's with Pittsburgh now.
Tucapita Marcano. What a name.
Tucapito Marcano.
Yeah, he played with the Padres in 21, Pittsburgh last year.
Yeah, Marcano.
He's 23 years old.
Okay, second baseman, shortstop, left fielder.
You're going to love this.
Plays for Pittsburgh,
Tucapita Marcano. You know where he's from?
Delaware.
Tucapita, Venezuela.
He's named after his hometown.
I mean, come on.
Tucapita. That's what it says.
I don't know if he's the solution.
Marcano. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
550, 562 OPS last year with Pitt. 49 games.
Jim, the Yankees, it feels like they just need a little bit of better help. And
Jake
maybe
Fraley.
you, TJ Friedel, maybe you need a little bit of better help. Better help. They get you in touch with a therapist. Working with a therapist can get you closer to the best version of yourself. When you feel empowered, you're more prepared to take on everything life throws at you. If you're thinking about giving therapy a try, why not with BetterHelp? It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and entirely online. You fill out a brief questionnaire. They get you matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can help get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/Yanks today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Yanks. And there's a link in the description. If it's something you're thinking about, go check out BetterHelp.
Okay, how about this name for you?
Yes.
Kansas City Royal.
Yes.
Every year of arbitration available
Yes.
to them. So you get them for a long time. Hit 18 home runs last year
I love them.
in 129 games.
Yes.
99 OPS plus.
No way.
3 triples.
How were they?
Hard hit rate. Second highest of all left-handed left fielders last year. MJ Melendez.
Jay Melendez, the catcher left fielder.
Yeah, for the Royals.
Yeah, he's like the key cog in their rebuild. So it's not looking great.
The Yankees he's done. He's a Yankee now.
He's on the Yankees.
Cash loves that hard hit rate.
Melendez is good. I remember when they played the Royals this year. He stood out. Him and
Little bit of a
Vinny
terror.
Pasquantino. Watch out for your Royals.
Watch out. Chapman. Jake
Oh,
Cave. He's not a solution.
Make Brian Reynolds happen, right?
It would have happened at this point, right?
I don't know.
I'm just organizing lefty left fielders by hard hit rate, hard hit percentage, because at one point the Yankees just love that.
Yeah.
You still got that on the screen, Beebs.
How about Yastrzemski?
You got Jake Sawinski from Pittsburgh.
Jack Sawinski.
Jack,
Don't-
sorry.
come on.
Sorry.
The Jakes and the Jacks have worked too hard.
He looks like a Jack. He looks like Jack Doyle a little bit.
He is a Jack.
I know, and he looks like one, so it's my
Perfect.
bad. Yeah, it's my bad.
That's huge.
Lefty, hard hit lefty, just below average. Oh, dude, terrible stats.
What's going on over there?
His slash line's not good.
It's tough.
Maybe the hard hit rate sorter isn't good.
You think the Sox will trade us for Dugo?
No,
Okay.
because then the Mookie trade looks so crazy. I mean, home run to fly ball rate? Is that what we want? Jack Sawinski's up there. Santander's up there.
Hey, Santander.
Like Cole Calhoun, they're probably going to sign him at some point. There's not a lot of options, man. It's distortion profar.
Man.
Profar or internal, right? I mean, unless there's a trade we don't see coming, but I'm trying to find trades we don't see coming. I found Tucapito, and I found that's really it. And I don't even think that's anything.
Yeah, I wonder. You mentioned Tony Kemp. He's looked good at the stadium whenever he's there. His numbers last year weren't great. He's versatile, and I wonder if they could do for them, that would kind of be their version of the Elvis Andrus trade. They got Elvis Andrus and just let him play shortstop because they were like, well, we need someone to play shortstop, and if he gets any value, cool. Have Aaron Hicks do that. Outfield in Oakland.
IKF. They need another shortstop.
They're letting that kid play. He looks very young.
Boone's nephew?
Yeah. What's his name? Nick Green or something?
Yeah, something very generic like that.
Oh.
It's true.
It is true. What's his name?
We're just on
Have we
a
mentioned David Peralta yet?
just a deep, dark hunt for left fielders. I mean, Tony Kemp's not the answer. And he doesn't have good numbers at the stadium. Does he have good numbers versus the Yankees?
I think he just had one or two timely homers the last couple of years.
Nick Allen.
He's 0 for 10 at the stadium,
Not
Kemp.
bad.
I think it was against. I think that was in Oakland, that series. I think he might have tortured us.
Versus the Yankees, no home runs. Are we?
That
Hey, can I ask
year
a kind
before,
of
maybe?
a dark podcast?
No, this is
only
his
question?
career.
Really?
I thought Tony Kemp killed the Yankees.
I've seen him homer at the stadium. I think I caught a Tony Kemp homer at the stadium.
I don't think so.
That'd be a weird thing for me to forget.
It says he's got no homers versus the Yankees.
If the Yankees waived and released Aaron Hicks tomorrow, what's your reaction?
Ooh, something's coming.
Yeah?
Yeah. Is that not your reaction? Why is this a dark podcast only question?
Because I think I'd be fine with it, and I don't know if anything would be coming.
3 homers at the stadium in 2021.
Like at this point, I think I'd be more okay with an Ortega Oswaldo Cabrera like left field battle in spring training than having Hicks in the mix.
Yes. Well, that's everything you've been saying. You're worried about Hicks stealing all the thing. I think that I think there will be an even split between the 3. You think that if Hicks is around,
Right.
he's getting all the reps.
It feels like that's what I've seen in recent years.
Just, last year, like Gallo and Stan got hurt,
Right.
and Gallo was not good.
Bad.
Judge was playing center field.
Yeah.
So, like, Hicks got a lot of run.
Yeah.
He also had a good April. No slugging, but good numbers.
Right.
and they were trying
The rest
to.
was
So
good.
there was like a body of work within the season that needed to totally fade, and it took until like midsummer for them to be like, all right, we don't care about that anymore. We're signing more, and you're becoming a bench player.
And then he had that like second, he had like another like 7-week period where it's like, oh wow, this numbers from
June,
start of
right?
June to
Yeah.
mid-July, where it's like numbers sneaky best on the team, 918
Yeah.
OPS.
Yeah. So like
June
there
2nd
was
to
a
July
lot of
9th.
things that got him that run, but if he's not playing well, I don't think he's gonna.
I think a lot of things are going to happen again.
Oh yes, always.
Tony
Someone-
Kemp, 2 for 25 at the stadium, 2 home runs.
Yeah, I don't
funny.
know.
But just
I clicked
devastating
career
times.
splits at the stadium, and I don't know what happened. 3 homers career at the stadium, and his numbers are nuts in 4 games started.
3 homers against the Yankees. 2 in the same. Tony Kemp. And Jess is friends with Tony Kemp.
1.681 OPS at Yankee Stadium against the Yankees.
Yeah, I think we're getting different source stats here. Tony Kemp show.
I'm gonna click it again. That was 2021.
Okay, I was doing career.
I clicked career, and it took me there. Maybe I'm fat fingering this, but it's making me look
Yeah, I saw the
folkish.
2 homers 2021. I haven't tried to look.
Oh, as I'm sliding down, I slid backwards by accident. As I was
Okay.
sliding down the screen, I slid left, and it took me like back.
Oh, that's so annoying when that happens.
Career numbers at the stadium not great,
But the
but
2
those
homers,
that 2021 year,
Hmm.
that 20 who are they against?
He was good that whole season. When was it like a game-winning home run? That's why we all remember it.
was one a game-winning,
Maybe
like a
not
game-winning
both.
homer? Was the other like a leadoff? I think both were like just crushers.
It felt like, in my soul, it feels like a game-winning homer, and it feels like a leadoff homer the next day against Cole.
Okay, there was a home run on June 18th against Wandy Peralta. The Yanks were up 3-2 in the 6th inning, and it was a 3-run home run.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then the very next day, top of the 1st, home run off Domingo Germán. So he crushed us. He won them the game.
Game-winning homer, leadoff homer.
And then the next time we played them in Oakland, he homered off of Chad Green, bottom 8th in a tie game. So that's why we remember him as just like killing the Yankees.
And he hadn't homered between those homers. 2 months between them.
What a punk.
Went to Vanderbilt. Jess took classes with him.
A lot of other people, too, went to Vanderbilt.
There's some nice quotes about Rodon wanting to be a Yankee.
Can you read those to me? I haven't seen those.
Let's see. So on this same program
Yeah.
that our guy Brian Cashman was on, Cashman said the team stayed in touch with Scott Boras and Rodon. I know that this is the place Rodon wanted to be, which obviously there's a little fluff there.
In hindsight, that pretty good, but
But also, from the people we heard from in the game, that was true. I think we told you guys on here, but we heard from pretty good sources that he was only coming to the Yanks if they re-signed Judge, which is kind of a power play for Rodon. And then, yeah, he said, Cashman said, thankfully there were things on the board still after Judge resigned, since we weren't sure what was going to be in play. And once Judge had officially agreed to New York, ultimately we were able to pivot and land Rodon. So I don't know.
He did say that they were trying to trade for Rodon last deadline with the Giants, but the Giants opted not to move him because they thought they were still in the race. That's a great strategy that I'm sure teams do. If a guy's about to be a free agent, go try and trade for him. But even if like you can't get him, at least during a free agent courting period, you're like, dude, we wanted you last year. The Giants wouldn't
make the
move
call.
you. The Giants didn't tell you. They wouldn't answer our call. We were desperate. Called every day. John, you called, and then John is in the room and brings out his iPhone, scrolls down a year later, and he's like, look at all these calls.
Look at them.
Giants didn't answer.
Little Correa effect.
Who?
Just get them in-house.
It sounds like
They have 3 bad physicals, and they come back home.
kind of what Yanks did with Britton, right? Showed
Britton.
him the daycare, and all of a sudden, this is the place he would take a not closer role.
Did he sign anywhere?
Not yet.
Is he a free agent?
Free agent. Closer we get to spring, the more it feels like once the Yankees can put someone on 60-day, just bring them back.
A pissy spring training, Zach Britton trying to make the team? Bottle that up, sell it in a jar, and I'm buying it.
Okay. One sale.
He's got to be pissy,
Zach
though.
Britton's... Oh.
Like when they're doing PFP drills, he like pushes Marinaccio. And he's like, you got options, right?
To some people, we have to wonder,
Okay.
are you buying a bottle of Britton's piss?
No.
No. Okay.
Just a piss fire Zach Britton.
In a bottle.
Not like
Represented
a
by his
replica
urine.
of him.
Kind of like the fuel.
No, when
that,
people-
This is the stuff that fuels Zach Britton. It's just his urine.
And when people jar air
Yes.
and they're like, I was at the Grand Canyon and I wanted to,
Yep.
and then they open it and they take a whiff. That's what I want it to be. Zach Britton piss
Yeah.
smelling
It's
salt.
like the fart can in Jack. Yeah. It's a good scene.
Mm.
Treehouse. Singing that song, farting.
All right.
All right.
Right.
That's everything we got. I think. Hopefully. Hey, left field might be a conversation until the gosh dang trade deadline.
Cows come home.
Cows usually stay home. You know?
Ducks fly together.